Hi, this is Voice Gone to Hell. I'm going to be switching away from my usual content to talk about a very interesting topic, which is why could the Empire have militarized? A good reason. Well, other than Palpatine was completely crazy and just wanted to kill people and wanted the entire galaxy under his rule. What possible reason could we have? A logical reason, because we know Palpatine was, although evil, he was very, very smart, and he knew how to make a plan. Obviously, the entire prequel trilogy is just a very, very, very bad memorial to that. But if he was so smart, why would he have militarized in such a way other than just to make everyone follow him, which they didn't in the end because of the rebellion? And there is an answer in a book called Outbound Flight by Timothy Zahn about how Palpatine sends a group of Jedi out into the unknown regions. Well, he doesn't exactly send them. He approves it on the record, but doesn't want it to happen off the record, because he knows there's something out there. He's heard from people such as Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was not a Grand Admiral at this point, and he was with the Chiss Ascendancy, who were a sub-faction in the galaxy. They weren't really a major part of anything, but they were able to survive through thousands and thousands of years. I'm getting sidetracked. But Thrawn told the Emperor, before he was the Emperor of course, about this outside threat. They were called the Far Outsiders, that's what they called them. And they used biotech to power their own machines. Now this is referring to the Yuuzhan Vong, of course. The Yuuzhan Vong were a extremely violent race that hated technology due to their past. They blew up their own galaxy in a civil war and went to the Star Wars galaxy to invade it. And when they did, when the New Republic was in power, this is all like legends, by the way, none of this has anything to do with the movies. When they did eventually invade the Star Wars galaxy, they were pummeled. The Star Wars galaxy were. They lost Coruscant, and they lost much of the known galaxy to the Yuuzhan Vong. They didn't even fully defeat their forces. The only reason that the Yuuzhan Vong lost the war were because once their leader was dead, they all surrendered or committed suicide. They still had a very large force after that, but they just didn't use it. And I believe they probably could have won the war. If you think about it that way, this militarization process actually seems pretty logical now, because the Death Star was this massive thing that could blow up planets. But if you think about it on just a little bit smaller scale, the Yuuzhan Vong had an incredibly large ship called a Yuuzhan Vong World Ship that was far bigger than a Super Star Destroyer. And you would need a Death Star to take that thing out. They had dozens, maybe hundreds of these. We don't know the exact number. But we would need a Death Star to take that out. The Emperor would need a Death Star, which might explain the creation of the Death Star. Yes, he did use it on Alderaan, which was a big mistake considering the rebellion blew it up. But if you think about it from a certain standpoint, it would explain why the Emperor did such a thing. The Yuuzhan Vong actually knew about the Emperor. They had a spy in galactic politics, and that spy feared the Emperor and almost respected him, which is why the Yuuzhan Vong didn't attack during the Imperial era. Now, if they would have, the spy even says that they would have been destroyed, and this is just paraphrasing, but he basically said that the gods would not have allowed that to happen. They are a very fanatical and religious race. But based on that information, we can then assume that Palpatine's entire reason for militarizing, if not just his main reason, was to stop an extragalactic invasion. It would explain Star Destroyers, Super Star Destroyers, why they favored TIE Fighters over X-Wings, why they built the Death Star, why they had all of their officers working on super projects and special weapon projects. It would explain why they didn't want anyone knowing about what was happening, because it would create panic. It explains everything the Emperor does. Except maybe the Battle of Endor. That was just stupid. He decided to draw everyone in so he could enjoy himself watching people get ripped to shreds by a big laser thing. But that's not the point. Please tell me if you want this kind of stuff in the future. If you don't want it, I'm not going to do it that much. But if you do, I will try to put it in as much as possible into my schedule. Thank you, and good night.